All right, welcome back. We're diving into some NBA action from last night, and you sent over a whole bunch of game summaries.
Yeah.
You're looking for more than just the headlines, right? Like, you want the real story behind the scores.
Hmm.
You want to know who really impressed, what these results mean for the teams going forward.
Absolutely.
The stuff you wouldn't know just by skimming the box scores.
Yeah.
And to be honest, some of these games, some of these results had me doing a double take.
It was a wild night in the NBA.
It was.
A lot of surprises, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But, what's really interesting is how these individual games, they seem like these isolated events,
Right.
but they can actually reveal bigger trends and narratives that are happening throughout the league.
Okay.
One game, one night can completely shift the momentum for a whole season.
Hmm.
It can expose a weakness that nobody knew was there.
Oh, wow.
Or it can give a young player a chance to shine, step into the spotlight.
I like that. Okay, so let's unpack some of these games. You sent over the Lakers-Clippers game. That's always a must-watch, just for the rivalry alone.
Oh, for sure.
Right? But this time, the Lakers pulled off the win, 106-102. You're telling me there's more to it than just bragging rights in L.A.?
Way more to it. If you really want to understand what went down,
Oh, okay.
you got to look beyond the score. You got to look beyond even LeBron's stat line. Although, he had a good night. Yeah, he did. 25 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds.
Yeah.
But he was dictating the whole pace of the game, making smart passes, really elevating his teammates' play.
So it wasn't just about him scoring, it was how he controlled the entire flow of the game.
Exactly. Like in the fourth quarter, there's this sequence where he draws in 2 defenders
Okay.
and then kicks it out to an open Westbrook for 3.
Ooh.
It's not just about the assist itself. It's that he could read the defense. He knew what they were going to do before they did it.
Yeah.
Created that opportunity. That kind of impact, you don't really get that from just looking at a box score.
No, you don't. Okay, I see what you mean about those deeper insights. But the Clippers, they've got stars like Harden, Leonard. How did they let this one slip away?
Turnovers. They had 18 turnovers in that game.
Oh.
And against a team like the Lakers, those mistakes, they're killers.
Yeah.
And these weren't just sloppy passes. The Lakers' defense was aggressive. They were forcing the Clippers into tough situations,
Okay.
trapping them on the perimeter, leading to bad decisions, rushed passes. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not taking care of the ball, it's tough to win against a team like the Lakers.
All right, note to self. Turnovers, they can make or break you, especially in a close game like that. Speaking of close games, the Jazz barely escaped with a 117-116 win over the Timberwolves.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing there's more to this one than meets the eye.
Absolutely. Context is key here.
Okay.
The Timberwolves, they were missing 2 of their star players.
Oh, no.
Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert both out. So for the Jazz, on paper, this was a game they should have won comfortably. But it came down to the wire.
So almost like the Jazz underperformed, even though they technically won.
Yeah, you could say that. It's not just that they underperformed, though. It's that the Timberwolves, even without their key guys, they showed incredible resilience.
Yeah.
Naz Reid stepped up huge, 27 points, 11 rebounds. They were playing with that underdog mentality.
Love it.
It made them dangerous. Now, the Jazz did manage to get the win,
All right.
thanks to a clutch game-winning assist from John Collins.
Whoa, hold on. Game-winning assist.
Yeah. Collins had a great game overall.
Okay.
29 points, 12 rebounds.
Nice.
But with just seconds left on the clock, he drives to the basket, draws the defense in, kicks it out to Mike Conley for a wide-open 3.
Oh, that's clutch.
That's the kind of play that separates good players from great players.
All right, so it sounds like the Jazz need to be careful.
Yeah.
They can't let these close calls become a habit.
Right?
Especially against teams that, on paper, they should be beating.
For sure. They got to
Okay.
maintain that intensity and focus no matter who they're playing.
Every possession.
Every possession matters in this league.
All right, let's move on to a team that did not have a close call last night. The Phoenix Suns. After a 3-game losing streak, they came out and dominated the Pelicans 125-108. It's more than just the score that's interesting here, right?
Way more.
Yeah.
This game was all about the emergence of 2 young players, Bol and Nick Richards.
Yeah.
Bol had 25 points,
No.
including 5 3-pointers.
Nice.
He was showing off his range, his versatility on offense, and Richards was a beast in the paint.
Yeah.
19 points, 12 rebounds.
They were playing with confidence, like they knew they could take over.
And that's what's so exciting to see. This wasn't just a fluke. It was a glimpse into their potential.
Right.
Now, of course, we got to consider the context here.
Yeah.
The Pelicans were missing Zion Williamson.
Right.
So that definitely impacted their game plan.
It makes you wonder how much of the Suns' win was them and how much was just the Pelicans being weakened.
It's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And that's why you got to keep an eye on the Suns in their upcoming games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can they keep this up against tougher opponents?
So this deep dive is already giving us something to think about. Are the Suns really turning a corner, or was this just a good night against a weaker team? But let's move on to another game that came down to the wire. The Knicks beat the Grizzlies 114-113. It sounds like it was a wild one.
Oh, yeah. This one had everything. Clutch shots, lead changes, a finish that had everybody on the edge of their seats.
Love it.
It all came down to the final seconds with the Knicks down by 1 point.
Okay.
They inbound the ball to OG Anunoby, and he just calmly drains a three-pointer with only 5.3 seconds left on the clock.
Ice in his veins.
Ice in his veins.
But the Grizzlies had their chances, right?
I mean, John Moran
Absolutely.
is always a threat.
He almost pulled it off. With 2 seconds left, he drives to the basket, puts up a floater, rims out. It's just a heartbreaking loss for the Grizzlies.
Oh, man.
But it shows you how important execution is in those late game moments.
The Knicks, even with all that pressure, they stayed composed, they made the right plays, and that's what won them the game.
It's almost like those close games, they really reveal a team's character.
Oh, for sure.
Their ability to perform under pressure.
Absolutely. And for the Knicks, this win could be a big confidence booster.
Yeah.
Showing them they can compete with the best, even when it comes down to the wire.
Okay, we've covered a lot already, but you sent over summaries for a few more games. Ready to dive back in.
Let's do it. There's always more to learn, more to analyze.
Okay.
And trust me, the insights only get deeper from here.
All right. Okay, you also sent in that Suns game from last night against the reigning champs, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
And remember how we were talking about the Suns? Like, are they really turning a corner after that big win against the Pelicans? Well, the Nuggets might have given them a bit of a reality check.
Yeah, the Nuggets, they're a force to be reckoned with, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And this game was a reminder of why they're the team to beat in the West.
For sure.
I mean, they controlled the game from the very beginning, playing with this level of precision, this intensity that the Suns just couldn't match.
Yeah.
Final score, Nuggets 118, Suns 102.
Not exactly what Suns fans were hoping for.
No.
What went wrong for them this time?
Well, it wasn't any one thing, really. It was more like a collective struggle, you know? Offensively, they just couldn't find a rhythm.
Yeah.
Bol and Richards, who were so impressive in that previous game,
Right.
they couldn't replicate that success against the Nuggets defense.
Okay.
Bol finished with 15 points, but he had to work for every single one of them.
Yeah.
He went 5 for 14 from the field.
Oof.
Richards had a decent showing, 12 points, 8 rebounds,
Yeah.
but he wasn't that dominant force we saw against the Pelicans.
So maybe a bit of a reality check for those who thought Bol and Richards were, like, suddenly unstoppable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say reality check, more like a valuable learning experience. You know, the Nuggets, they have one of the best defensive schemes in the league.
For sure.
And they expose some areas where Bol and Richards still need to grow.
Yeah.
Bol, for example, he struggled against the Nuggets' physicality.
Okay.
He wasn't as effective getting to his spots, and Richards had trouble finishing through contact at the rim.
Right.
You know, these are all things that young players learn and adjust to as they gain more experience.
Makes sense. Makes sense. It's important to remember that development isn't always a straight line upwards.
No.
There are going to be bumps along the way, especially against, elite competition like the Nuggets.
Absolutely. This game wasn't a setback for the Suns,
Right.
It was an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah, I like that.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about a team that has been on a roll lately.
Okay.
The Miami Heat.
They've been looking good.
They extended their winning streak to 4 games with a hard-fought victory over the Boston Celtics.
Right.
108-101.
The Heat have been really impressive lately. What's the secret to their success?
Their defense is the foundation. They're holding opponents to under 100 points per game during this win streak.
Wow.
And it's not just about individual effort. It's their collective understanding of rotations, their ability to anticipate passes, and they're willing to sacrifice their bodies for the good of the team.
Yeah.
Against the Celtics, they held Jason Tatum,
Oh, yeah.
one of the league's best scorers, to just 19 points
Wow.
on 7 for 21 shooting.
That's That's shutting him down.
It's not easy to do.
No, no, it's not. That says a lot about their defensive intensity.
It does.
Yeah.
And on offense, they're playing with a sense of balance, a sense of purpose.
Okay.
Tyler Hero continues to be their go-to scorer.
Yeah.
He put up 25 points against the Celtics, including some clutch free throws down the stretch.
Love it.
But it's not just Hero. They're getting contributions from everybody.
Right.
Bam Adebayo's a force in the paint. Kyle Lowry's orchestrating the offense beautifully. And the role players are stepping up, making big plays when they need to.
So it sounds like the Heat have all the pieces for a deep playoff run. The stifling defense, balanced offense, veteran leadership.
They're definitely a team to watch. Coach Spoelstra has done a great job of instilling that winning culture.
Yeah.
And they're playing with confidence, with chemistry.
I love it.
It's contagious.
All right, next up, we've got that Knicks-Grizzlies rematch.
Oh, yeah.
After that thrilling one-point game the other night, you're telling me the Grizzlies got their revenge.
They did. They came out with a fire in their belly, determined to bounce back after that tough loss.
Yeah.
Final score, Grizzlies 112, Knicks 104.
So what was different this time around?
It all starts with Ja Morant.
Okay.
He was unstoppable.
Yeah.
32 points, 8 assists, attacking the basket, making smart decisions with the ball, hitting some incredible shots.
Nice.
He was determined to make up for that missed floater in the previous game.
Yeah.
And he did just that.
So Morant was playing with the chip on his shoulder. What about the Knicks? Did OG Anunoby have another game winner up his sleeve?
He had a solid game, 20 points. But the Grizzlies' defense was much more prepared for him this time.
Right.
They denied him the ball in those key moments, forced him into tough shots. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 28 points.
Yeah.
But it wasn't enough to overcome the Grizzlies' scoring and their defensive intensity.
So a statement win for the Grizzlies.
Oh.
A reminder that momentum can shift quickly in this league.
Absolutely.
You can't dwell on the past. You got to bring it every single night.
That's what makes it so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And exciting.
Yeah.
It's a constant battle,
Right.
Teams are always adapting, evolving.
It's like a chess match.
It is.
Speaking of unpredictable, you also sent in that Lakers-Mavericks game.
Oh, yeah.
A matchup featuring, two of the league's most captivating players,
Yeah.
LeBron James and Luka Doncic.
It's a must-watch every time they play.
Oh, for sure. I have a feeling this one was, let's just say I bet it lived up to the hype.
It was a classic.
Yeah.
Two generational talents going head-to-head, each trying to will their team to victory.
And who came out on top?
In the end, it was Doncic and the Mavericks.
All right.
They won 107-104 in overtime.
Overtime. This was a nail-biter. What were the key moments?
Well, Doncic was just sensational.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
triple-double for him.
Really?
35 points, 14 rebounds, 12 assists.
Wow.
He was scoring at will, creating for his teammates, controlling the pace.
Another triple-double. It seems like those are becoming a regular thing for him.
He's on another level right now.
Yeah.
He's playing with this combination of skill, confidence, and court vision that you rarely see.
It's special.
But it wasn't just Doncic. The Mavericks supporting cast really stepped up too.
Okay.
Kristaps Porzingis was a force defensively,
Right.
making things difficult for LeBron all night.
Right.
And the role players hit some big shots when it mattered most.
So even LeBron couldn't overcome Doncic's brilliance.
LeBron had a solid game, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
28 points, 9 rebounds. But the Mavericks' defense, they did a good job of limiting his impact. They forced him into tough shots, double-teamed him in the post.
Yeah.
They made him work for every point. It was a reminder that even the greatest players,
Right.
they have off nights,
Of course.
especially against a team as talented and as well coached as the Mavericks.
All right. Last game on the list. We got the Clippers taking on the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow. Yes.
I'm hearing whispers of a wild comeback, a tale of two halves.
Oh, this one was a roller coaster.
And a young superstar leading the charge. Tell me everything.
This game, it was like a microcosm of the NBA's unpredictable nature.
Okay.
The Clippers came out firing, they built a 20-point lead in the first half.
Wow.
They were moving the ball, hitting their shots, playing with intensity. The Hawks were on their heels.
Yeah.
But then something shifted in the third quarter.
What happened? Did the Clippers get complacent? Did the Hawks make some adjustments?
It was a little bit of both, I think.
Okay.
The Clippers started to relax. They thought they had the game in the bag. Got careless with their passes. Their shots stopped falling. Their defense loosened up.
Oh, no.
And the Hawks, led by Trae Young,
Of course.
they smelled blood in the water.
Love it.
They started attacking the basket. Their shots started falling. Their defense tightened up.
Okay.
They outscored the Clippers 38-18 in the third quarter.
Whoa.
Completely erased that 20-point deficit.
That is an incredible turnaround.
It was.
What was the final score?
The Hawks completed the comeback, 121-116.
Wow.
It was a statement win for them.
Yeah.
Showed their resilience, their fighting spirit, their ability to never give up.
Yeah.
And for the Clippers, it was a harsh lesson learned.
You can never let your guard down.
Never let your guard down in this league.
All right, we've covered a lot tonight. Upsets, comebacks, triple-doubles, some incredible individual performances. What's, like, the one thing you want me to take away from all these games?
You know what's interesting to me?
What's that?
It's how much emphasis we put on a single game.
Right.
But it's the teams that can consistently perform at a high level.
Right.
Those are the ones that rise to the top of the standings.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And we're seeing that play out right now. The Miami Heat, for example, they're on this 4-game win streak.
Yeah.
And it's not just luck. You know, they're playing with this sense of urgency,
Right.
this hunger that's driving their success. They've bought into their system. They understand that every possession matters. And then on the flip side, you have teams like the Clippers.
Right.
They have all the talent in the world, but they haven't quite figured out how to consistently turn that talent into wins.
They have those mental lapses, those moments where they just lose focus.
Exactly. And against good teams, those lapses, they can be fatal.
Yeah, it's like they're still searching for that extra gear, that killer instinct, you know, that separates the contenders from the pretenders.
And even within those teams, you see players who are at different points on that journey, you know, like at Ball, Ulrich and Nick Richards.
Yeah.
They had that phenomenal game against the Pelicans. But then they struggled against the Nuggets' elite defense.
Yeah.
That's to be expected, especially for young players.
Right.
It's a reminder that growth in the NBA, it isn't always linear.
It's not a straight line.
No. There are going to be setbacks, challenges that test their resolve, force them to adapt.
And it's how they respond to those challenges. That's what determines their long-term success.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see why you say these games, they reveal so much more than just who won and lost. Every possession has the potential to change the narrative, not just of the game itself, but of a player's career,
Right.
a team's trajectory.
It's that element of uncertainty, that potential for greatness.
Yeah.
That's what makes the NBA so captivating. You never know what's going to happen next.
Right.
And that's what keeps you coming back for more.
Yeah. You've given me a lot to think about. As we move into the second half of the season, are there any teams or players you have your eye on? Any bold predictions you want to throw out there?
It's tough to say for sure, but I'm really intrigued by the Miami Heat. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they've quietly assembled a very formidable team,
They have.
and they have the potential to make some serious noise in the playoffs. And I wouldn't count out LeBron and the Lakers just yet.
No.
They've been through a lot this season, but they have a knack for peaking at the right time.
It sounds like we have a lot to look forward to. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this deep dive?
I think it's important to remember that the NBA, it's about more than just wins and losses.
Right.
It's about the stories, the rivalries, the individual battles that make this league so unique.
Yeah.
You know, as you continue to watch these games, pay attention to the little things, the subtle shifts in momentum, the moments of brilliance, the displays of resilience.
Yeah.
Those are the details that will really, they'll deepen your understanding and appreciation for this game.
That's a great point. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on the NBA now.
That's what we like to hear.
Right.
And remember, the best is yet to come.
So we've covered a ton of games tonight, seen everything from those buzzer beaters to, you know, those blowouts, some crazy comebacks, some really impressive individual performances.
Yeah.
As we kind of wrap things up here, what's the biggest takeaway for you? Is there like a common thread that runs through all these games?
You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
We put so much emphasis on a single game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really those teams that can perform consistently at a high level. Those are the ones that
Yeah.
rise to the top.
Like you said earlier, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Exactly. And we're seeing that play out right now. Like, look at the Miami Heat.
Yeah, they've been on a roll.
4-game win streak.
Yeah.
And it's not just luck. You know, they're
Right.
playing with this sense of urgency, this hunger that's driving their success.
Yeah.
They've bought into their system. They understand that every possession matters.
Right.
And then you have teams like the Clippers, right? All the talent in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But they just haven't quite figured out how to be consistent, how to turn that talent into wins, you know?
They have those lapses, those moments where they just lose focus.
Exactly. And against good teams, you can't afford to do that.
No.
Those lapses can be fatal.
Yeah. It's like they're still searching for that extra gear, that killer instinct,
Right.
that separates the contenders from the pretenders.
And even within those teams, you see players who are at different stages of that journey.
Yeah, that's true.
Bill and Nick Richards, right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal game against the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
But then they struggled against the Nuggets defense, which is,
To be expected.
it's tough, especially for young guys.
Right. It's a reminder that growth in the NBA, it's not always linear.
No, it's not a straight line.
No.
There's going to be setbacks, challenges that really test them.
Make them adapt.
And it's how they respond to those challenges.
Yeah.
It's going to define their future success.
Yeah. I'm really seeing now why you say these games reveal so much more than just the final score. Every possession can change the story, not just of the game,
Right.
but of a player's career, a team's whole trajectory.
It's that uncertainty, that potential for something special to happen. That's what makes the NBA so captivating,
Right, you never know what's going to happen next.
Exactly. And that's what keeps you coming back for more.
It really does. You've given me a lot to think about. As we move into the second half of the season, any teams or players you're keeping a close eye on? Any bold predictions?
Ooh, bold predictions, huh?
Yeah, put you on the spot a little bit.
It's tough to say for sure,
Of course.
but I'm really intrigued by this Miami Heat team.
Yeah, they've been quietly.
They've been quietly putting together a really strong team.
Yeah.
And I think they could make some noise in the playoffs. And, I wouldn't count out LeBron and the Lakers just yet.
No, never count out LeBron.
They've been through a lot this season, but they have a knack for figuring things out when it matters most.
It's like they flip a switch.
Exactly.
It sounds like we've got a lot to look forward to. Any final thoughts before we wrap up this deep dive?
I think it's important to remember that, the NBA,
Yeah.
it's more than just wins and losses. It's about the stories,
The nerve.
rivalries, the individual battles.
Mm.
As you continue to watch these games, pay attention to those little things.
Yeah.
The subtle shifts in momentum, the moments of brilliance, the displays of resilience. Exactly. Those are the details that will really that'll make you appreciate this game on a whole other level.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I feel like I've got a whole new understanding of the NBA, of how to watch it.
That's what it's all about. And remember, the best is yet to come.
All right, that's a great note to end on. Thanks again for joining me, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.